B team, we're back, but Muller's not here. Mr. Muller is actually playing a soccer game right now, so we already know what he's about to do on the pitch. I mean, guess did you ever go see him in Westchester?
I did.
Yeah?
I was at a few of his games.
Dude's an animal. It's not even like. I mean, let me get in a little background on Muller. He played at Monmouth, transferred to Westchester, and I went to a couple of his games as well. And if you're familiar with soccer, obviously I'm not the biggest soccer head there is. Obviously Muller's a bigger one. But just watching him play, obviously from my FIFA background, because I'm a beast, he was a center back and a wing back. I think he would play a little bit of both. But dude was an animal. Like he just knew, like his IQ on the pitch was insane. Like he just knew what to do with the ball. He knew when to intercept. He knew when to pass the ball correctly. When to be aggressive, take a shot, move up the field. Like he's good. Like he's just so smart, and that's just something you can't take away from him. So Muller, good luck. I hope you're doing well. Also, shout out Jere Elder. The Breakers are in the playoffs. They beat Houston. So Jere, keep doing what you're doing. You're killing it, man. And we look forward to having you on soon. Hopefully next week. But yeah. So Gassy, we actually we're at Muller's house right now. By the way,
New studio.
Yeah, new studio. So we made a slight upgrade. But nobody was home, and we actually were thinking about recording outside. Unfortunately, the mics were inside, and we didn't have his garage code. Nobody was home. So Muller answered. We got the garage code. Now we're inside, and it's just Gassy and I, and we're gonna change it up a little bit on this podcast. So we're gonna do. I have my top 10 matchups heading into the season. This is just me personally. I don't know if you want to go into this first, Gas, or you want to do this first, and then we'll go.
We can go into that first.
Great. So what me and Gas are doing, just to have a little fun here, change it up a bit, just because there's not really much to talk about in football. We're going to do my top 10 matchups heading into the season, and then Gassy's going to quiz me a little bit. He's going to give me some overvalued or undervalued players for fantasy. So now within this time, we're going to start focusing on fantasy a little bit more, because I know all you guys are hopefully playing fantasy football, whether that's dynasty, whether that's regular just redraft leagues. So we'll reference those both, Gas, when you ask me somebody. So I'll give my dynasty take and then my regular redraft ESPN league, NFL league take. But yeah, so and then from there, Gassy's gonna rant a little bit about UFOs.
Let's get into it.
So, all right, little drum roll. So I want music in the background, like something. But
We need an intro song.
Dude,
I think we need to make an intro.
We used to. So every week, me and Muller would pick a song for an intro song, and we would just roll with that, and then we would go right into the podcast. That is low-key what we have been missing. I completely forgot about that. So we could literally take any song we want. It could be one song. It could be multiple songs. But I like what you were thinking, because I did not even think of that whatsoever.
I don't know if we can take any song we want. We may get a copyright strike on some songs, but
That's true.
We'll find something.
We will find something. But yeah, that could possibly make it a little more inviting, a little bit of a hook per se. But with that all being said, I want to jump into these, and I hope you guys like these. I mean, I researched them a little bit just to find the games that I thought were going to be interesting. Gassy, I love your feedback on this too. So what I'll do, I'll start from 10. I have 10 of these, 10 down to 1, obviously 10 being the least, but also of just a very interesting game to watch. So with that being said, let's start. So my 10th game for top 10 matchup heading into the season. Right now I have the Houston Texans at the Carolina Panthers week 8 at 1 o'clock.
Okay. I mean, both teams will probably be kind of ass. But it's going to be interesting to see like where those teams are going in the future, because they could both be the future of that division.
Why I picked that matchup is because, one, you have your number 1 and 2 guys going against each other. I mean, if that's not more interesting than what is. I mean, look at the Jaguars and Zach Wilson. I mean, he was a sophomore, but those are two guys, highly touted guys, that are pretty much going to be their franchise quarterbacks, and it's going to be an interesting game to see how they stack up. I mean, again, Carolina's got a sleeper defense. They obviously have new pieces. And Houston, they got work to do, but they made some moves too. I mean, now they got John Mechie coming back. They got Nico Collins still. They got Dalton Schultz. That'll be a fun game to watch. And just to see D'Amico coach against Frank Reich. I think that's going to be a really interesting game, and just to see either it's going to be a complete shit show or they're actually going to show out. My prediction, I think the Panthers are going to come away with that, but it's going to be a close game. So
Yeah,
that's
I'd have to say the same. I think like the only chance the Texans have would probably be if D'Amico comes out and just like puts on a defensive clinic, because he's a good defensive coach going against a rookie quarterback. You know what happens in matchups like that. So we'll see. But I think the Bryce has a lot more around him this year than Stroud does. So to me, he should be the more successful guy, at least to start his career.
absolutely. And the thing is too with that game, like it's going to be a challenge for both rookies because both defenses, I at least think that Houston's defense is definitely a little slept on. Like they can make some noise. And then, like, all shitty teams have a good defense. That's just how it works. So it's going to be a defensive game for sure, but it's going to be interesting to see how those rookies handle it. So that's my number 10. My number 9 game. This one was I was conflicted between this game and another Kansas City game. You guys are going to see that I have a lot of Kansas City games on here, but they're actually going to be good games, even though I hate watching Kansas City every primetime game. However, my number 9 matchup heading into the season, I have the Seahawks at Cincinnati, Week 6, 1 o'clock game. So these first two are going to be 1 o'clocks. The rest are going to be 8:30s, 4:25s, 8:20 games, Monday Night Football games. But the last 1 o'clock game I got, the Seahawks versus the Bengals. I just think this is such a unique matchup because you have Geno, who's a vet, and obviously worked his way up and now is a starter for Seattle, and then you have the Bengals, who are the Bengals. But it's going to be a coaching matchup. I don't think we've seen them play each other yet. And Pete Carroll against Zach Taylor, like, dude, I mean, I don't know about you, are you sold on Zach Taylor? Like, obviously they have such a good team, but is it really like I feel like he's just kind of there. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a head coach who doesn't get he doesn't get a lot of time in the spotlight. Like, I feel like people don't talk about him as much as they talk about like Andy Reid or like head coaches of the other elite teams, but like really, since he's been in Cincy, have they been bad at all?
Before Burrow, they obviously had their terrible times, but once he got there, I mean, they've just been electric. Like nothing has stopped them. I mean, whatever their philosophy was, it worked. Remember that time where we were like, yo, they need to draft Penei Sewell, and then they drafted Jamar? I mean, I know me and you were kind of on
like,
that.
What the fuck are they doing?
Exactly.
Take the lineman. Burrow was getting killed the season before that.
Yeah, ACL injury.
But they get Jamar, and it was just to the moon from there.
And you know what?
Make it to the Super Bowl that year.
I feel like that was the one. That was the one part of the draft that like kind of turned the tables on how to draft. Like I feel like beforehand,
receivers were like a risky play in the top 10 before that, but now everybody wants that new Jamar Chase. They want that young guy who's going to step in right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that literally like turned the tables around for just drafting receivers in general, because beforehand it was like picks 20 and up, like 20 into the second round. So once that happened, now you saw all like Drake London going 8 to the Falcons. Like,
yeah, and before Jamar, he never would have went that high. Drake London, you kidding me?
No way, no shot. So yeah, going to be a good game. A lot of receivers. A lot of balls are going to be thrown for sure. They might not run the ball at all, but again, Seattle's defense, one to watch. They're going to be put to the test that game.
Yeah, dude, that could be like the biggest receiver matchup we see this year. Like both teams are pretty stacked, so yeah, that'll be a fun game to watch for sure.
Especially Jackson Smith and Jigba. If there's a bet on that game, it's him to get a touchdown or maybe 2.
Dude, do they have the best receiving core in the league?
The Seahawks?
I think they might.
For a trio of receivers, I think they're definitely up there. I mean, again, we haven't seen Jackson play. DK's been a little bit. He hasn't been the same receiver when he came into the league. I would put them on the brink around top 5, like for sure. I mean, the Bengals could be up there too, just because those two are just freaks. And then you got Tyler Boyd after that. I mean, I think the Chargers, if they could just stay healthy, I think they're up there too. I mean, again, like it's just waiting on these rookies to see how they play. Like it just all depends on their health. Like if they can stay healthy, they can easily be a top 5 receiver tandem in the league. But Miami, they only have 2. They don't really have a third one. I mean, the Jets, they have I mean, Lazard, obviously Garrett, and then McCole. I wouldn't throw them in the top 5 at the
Not
moment.
me either.
Besides that, I can't think of anybody else at the moment. Maybe the Vikings, I'd throw T.J. Hawkinson in there, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson. But yeah, I mean, just depending on if we looked at all those teams and looked at their top 3 receivers, the Seahawks can definitely be top 5. All those teams that we mentioned could be. So another good matchup. Week 6, 1:00. So now I'm on to my 8th. So this one, obviously, it's not going to be 1:00 games. This is going to be your primetime game. So I have another one with the Cincy. I got the Bengals at the Jags, Week 13. That's 8:20 on a Sunday night. Dude, Trevor, number 1 overall picks. Trevor, the up-and-coming Jags against the Bengals.
Probably some playoff implications on the line, too, by
Yep.
Week 13 for both of those teams. I mean, we'll see if Trevor keeps doing what he did last year. I'm sure he will with Calvin Ridley now. I mean, I think he's going to have, like, the same career trajectory as Burrow did. Like, he came in the league his rookie year. People knew how good he was. And then it was just up from there.
I got to say something here. There was something in the Twitter GM, and who was it? You or Abe were like, yo, we need to hold the brakes on Trevor.
I think it was Abe, but like I kind of agreed with him because people are already acting like he's like a top 5. I think a lot of people act like Trevor's a top 5 QB, and we still have to see it. I mean, he showed the potential to get there, but like we just don't know yet with Trevor.
I think he's sold, bro. Like I think he's already. I think we haven't even seen it yet, but like he's only gonna get better. Like I don't think he's gonna get any worse. I think that offense has gotten way better. We were jagging off last year. Like I think that offense has gotten so much better. Dougie P knows how to coach him.
That's really what it is.
I think the sky's the limit, bro.
Like he's in the right situation with Dougie P. That probably saved his career right there. The Urban Meyer year that was the worst decision I've ever seen a franchise make, hiring Urban Meyer.
Yeah, and
you got this young kid who's supposed to be like the best QB ever. You bring in fucking Urban Meyer.
That's like the Jets with Gase, bro. Yeah, I mean it's just little moves like that can ruin it.
That's a lot to be said for Trevor right there. That didn't tank his career because that was the worst possible situation he could have been in. Like Urban Meyer was trying to finger blast a young girl at the bar. It was just it was a circus from week 1.
It was, and you know what?
He survived it and came out better the next year. So
yeah, you know what's crazy too, because we've seen. I mean, as Jets fans, we've seen players go through that. We've seen Sam go through that. We've seen Zach go through that. There's a bunch.
It kills so many quarterbacks,
and they don't bounce back.
Yeah,
Trevor bounced back and literally almost beat the Chiefs in the divisional round of the playoffs. They lost by 3 points. Like, dude, I don't think there's any halting on him. I think he's going to get even better, and he's going to be a top quarterback in the league, 100%. Once all these old guys are out, Rodgers, Deshaun, Deshaun's not that old, but like all these like veteran guys that have been there for a while, these veteran quarterbacks. I mean, the league is getting younger anyways, but he can be a top 5 quarterback in my opinion. And I don't think it's outrageous to say that.
No, he can.
Do you think this year he could?
Yeah, for sure. If you're talking fantasy, and I know it's not all about fantasy, but I think he was like the QB7 or something like that. He's got the rushing ability. A lot of people don't realize that. He can do everything. So he's like a mobile Peyton Manning kind of. I mean, yeah, dude. He'll be good next year.
Dude, that's another team with a nice wide receiver 3 tandem. You got Calvin, you got Christian Kirk, and you got Zay Jones. That's another sleeper one.
Christian Kirk was awesome last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll be a great number 2 behind Ridley.
Absolutely. And Zay Jones, I mean, if one of those guys gets hurt, it's a really nice piece to have on your fantasy team.
They got nice backs too. Yeah, they'll compete.
Yeah, ETN is that's the only question mark for me because obviously they drafted him with Trevor. I still think he has potential, but I just don't know how they're going to use him.
People kind of think he's a bust almost. Not a bust, but like they look at his fantasy numbers and they're not the greatest, but like just as an NFL running back, I feel like he's a guy who he adds a lot. Pass catching ability, he's a good rusher too. So I mean, they're looking good. They really are.
Is that one of the guys on your list that you wrote down?
No, it's not.
That's a good one.
It would be a good one.
I didn't even think of him, but yeah, so Jags, Bengals, Week 13, 8:20 game on a Sunday night. The spread's going to be 3.5. I'd be shocked if it was even 7.5. So I think it's going to be a fire game. Number 7, So we already went through 3. Number 7, I have. This is gonna be a fun game to watch. I'm excited for this. Miami Dolphins at the Kansas City Chiefs, Week 9 in Germany, 9:30 a.m. Dude, I love these 9:30 games. I love the overseas games. They got to keep doing it every year, even though it's kind of tough on these NFL players. I mean, dude, that's a long flight. Like that's a lot of traveling, obviously. But seeing Tyreek play against Kansas City again, seeing Tua. I mean, obviously, all Dolphins fans they love Tua, and that's gonna be a good game to watch. It could either be a fucking blowout or it's gonna be damn close. But I don't know. I just think that's one in the morning early. You put your bets in and you watch a fire game like that you can't go wrong.
Dude, if Miami's defense is good next year, and Tua's healthy, they'll be rolling by week 9. I mean, they got Fangio now and like all those pieces on their defense. Like they're such a complete team. They have a better roster than the Chiefs for sure, but we just know what the Chiefs do.
Yeah, I mean, if there's the only knock I really have on Miami right now is just their old line. Like I feel like their old line has. I mean, you saw Tua getting crushed.
Yeah, and I mean,
but
he needs his protection.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see if the jiu-jitsu helps, but I don't know if it's gonna.
Yeah, I mean, you need protection up front, but I'm definitely intrigued to see Vic Fangio's defense. I mean, he's one of the better defensive coaches in the league, and apparently he's implementing new schematics and strategies to the defense. So if Jalen Ramsey can come back, and let's be real here, like Jalen Ramsey wasn't. I personally, I don't think he was that good last year. Xavier was injured.
He was still good. Xavier sucked. You can make the injury excuse if you want, and I guess it's valid, but he was not good last year. Jalen was still good. He was probably top 5 still. He wasn't as good as like Surtain or Sauce, but like he's getting a little old. You know, corners don't have the longest lifespan, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and it's funny too because you find these corners like Patrick Peterson, Champ Bailey, like all these like old guys that like keep it going, but you can tell once they reach like 29 or 30, they're done. Like they just can't keep up anymore.
Yeah, that's one of those positions where it's all about athleticism. Like you need elite athleticism to be an NFL corner, and like when guys lose that, it's kind of just it's over for them.
Do you think they're the best duo for cornerbacks in the league?
No, fuck no. You know who I think is the best cornerback duo in the league?
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm right there with you. But where would you kind of rank them in regards to like top 3, top 5?
The Jets have the best cornerback duo in the league. We all know that. But if you're talking like trio or just like cornerback room in general,
straight duo,
then you could give it to Miami possibly because they got those other 2 young dudes.
Mm.
They just drafted a guy this year. I forget who it was.
Cam Smith.
Yeah. And what the fuck's the other guy's name? Their number 3 corner last year.
Isn't like Eric Abuk? No, he's definitely Abukma. I think he's a receiver.
I don't know, but I know they did have a guy who was all right.
Yeah. No, the names like are rolling off my tongue, but like duo wise, would you throw them top 3? Is that like a respectable?
No, it's the Jets and them are 1 and 2. We'll see which one is 1A and 1B this year.
I can't even think of other like quarterback tandems in the league that at least compare to like what the Jets and Miami has. I mean,
there's none. There might be other good ones. I don't fucking know either, but like the level that the Jets and Miami are at right now with the corners, it's 1A and 1B.
Yeah. So and listen, I mean, the Chiefs. I don't want to get into it too much to waste time, but the Chiefs receivers, I mean, they're not elite. They got Kelsey. That's obviously going to be the divider there. That's going to ruin defenses, but I can't see those receivers really torching those guys. Like I still think Xavier Howard, like he was a very underrated player, and I think he still is. But like they should have no problem guarding those receivers. It's really just the schematics and making sure that they just know what they're doing. Like I can see them running the ball heavy on Miami, 100%.
With Pacheco, yeah, I think that would be part of the game plan for sure.
So yeah, so that's my number 7, Miami versus Chiefs, Week 9 in Germany, 9:30 in the morning. Now Week 6, this one was a toss up. I have the Ravens at the LA Chargers, Week 12, 4:20 Sunday night game. I just think that's just. You can't go wrong with that. On a Sunday night game like that, you got Lamar, you got Odell, you got Zay Flowers, you got a team that's really trying to prove themselves and make a run for the AFC North. And then you got the Chargers. I mean, you got Herbie there, you got Keenan, you got Eckler. You got Quentin Johnson, Mike Williams. Lamar could go crazy that game. I mean, that can either be a Lamar just carries the whole team, or it's going to be a ground and pound type of game for them. But that's a big game for Herbert. That's why I think it's going to be really important because again, that's a Week 12 game, and that could be a very important game to win.
Yeah, I mean, both of those teams last year were like wild card contenders, and I think it'll be the same this year for both of them. But I do think Lamar is going to be way better. Like, he's just better than what he showed last year. So, I mean, we'll see what happens there. But I don't know if Lamar has a receiving core. I really don't. I don't
Again,
think he
like
does.
I think we've gotten into this before. Like I just think Odell was a luxury piece. Like I really don't like the people
I
who
mean,
think that.
since they have no one else, like, he will add to the
But
offense.
how much though? Like,
I
do you
don't
really
know.
think it's? I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference. Like honestly, like
Dude, honestly,
how long could he stay healthy for?
I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Zay Flowers because he was a guy who was like, people were really singing his praises coming out of Boston
His
College.
stock rose
And
quick.
we'll see if he steps up because they need it. They need it big time.
I think if there's one player that it's like prove it or you're done, J.K. Dobbins 100% because he's averaged over his career around 5.5 yards per carry, which is absurd. But he just can't stay healthy, dude. And like he's looking for big money, gas. Like
It's
he's
gonna be the same thing with like every single one of those players we just named. For Baltimore, like they all have to stay healthy. Lamar hasn't. Rashad Bateman hasn't. Odell hasn't.
yeah. The defense is no problem. Like the
No.
defense is just fine. It's just
Yeah,
that
Harbaugh will
offense.
have the defense good.
They lost some pieces on the O line, but Tyler Linderbaum, who I wanted for the Jets, like he's going to be there for forever. Ben Powers they lost, so they got to turn it around. This is going to be an interesting year. I mean, Lamar just got paid, so I think, but I
Yeah,
don't
he
know.
did.
I mean, I still think the Bengals run away with that division. I don't even think it's a question. So, and the Browns, watch out. So, okay, so we went through 5 right there. Good so far? Sounds like good games.
Yeah, yeah.
There are
See what we
some like
got.
obvious games that I left out, but just for the sake of fuck the Chiefs. So, sorry, Nietzsche. Number 5, I think this is a must. You got to throw this in there. I have the Eagles at Cowboys Week 14, 8:20 on a Sunday. I think it's a must. You got to throw that in there because you remember the curse, or it's not really a curse. NFC teams each year, there's always a different one that wins the division. I'm not saying
the NFC East every single year.
I'm not saying that the Eagles are going to fall off. They're still going to be elite. I honestly think they're one of the best teams in the NFL right now. I think they're
I think
probably
they'll-
the
yeah,
best.
I think they'll be even better. They're the only true elite team
Agreed.
in the NFC. So I think this could be the first year in how long we see a team repeat in that division. I think the Eagles will take it.
For sure. And I mean, I think the Cowboys probably have the best shot to kind of knock them off, but I just feel like the Cowboys are not finished. I just don't know. I mean, Brandon Cooks, you get Brandon Cooks, that's a nice little piece, but to rely on him, listen, he's undervalued and he's underrated for sure. I mean, he's gotten almost 1,000 yards every single season. So if Dak could just be Dak and the defense can actually stop Jalen Hurts and that offense,
Yeah, Dallas always gives the Birds problems too. We saw what happened last year when Dak was out. I mean, Dallas still lost that game, but like they came damn close to beating Hurts at the end of the year.
but are you saying at Philly?
I think it was.
Or
I think it was in Philly. Yeah, I think it was the second time they played at the end of the season.
the first time they were close to beating them, the Cowboys, when Garner was playing too. Garner Minshew was starting. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a must game. Obviously, there's a bunch of rivalries. You got the Bears, Vikings, Bears, Lions, Bears, Packers, like vice versa. You got Steelers, Ravens. You have those. Like, those are obvious. I want, like, different matchups that are going to be – we don't see them play a lot that much. I mean, besides that, like the Bengals, Jags. Like, matchups like these where, like, you really can't compare because they've never really played each other. So that's one. And then number 4 here that I have the Cowboys at the Lions, Week 17, Saturday, 8:15 game. Why I put that there is because it's Week 17, and both of those teams are going to be on the verge of a playoff win. Like, that's going to be a win-and-in type of game. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting because two good offenses. But we'll see. Dallas's defense should be the deciding factor of that game. Like if they can slow down Detroit's offense, Dallas should take that. But I just don't know if Detroit has the defense yet. Like we all know they have a good offense, but like their defense has struggled the past how many years? And did they really do that much to address it in the offseason? I don't
No,
think so.
dude. I mean, watching that draft, I thought Christian Gonzalez was a for sure pick for them, and I thought that was the pick for them. And then they went and got Gibbs, but Gibbs, dude, they're gonna use him like crazy. They're gonna use him more than they did Swift, honestly. Like David Montgomery is a really, really like that's a starting running back right there. But you're gonna see Gibbs. I'm telling you, you're gonna see Gibbs lined up like Bijan, kind of not like a 3-down back, but he's going to be placed all over the field. They're going to utilize him to the max. I mean, they drafted him 12th overall. They're not just going to let him sit behind Montgomery and just catch passes or oh my god, I can't speak. Catch passes on third down. Like he's going to be there pretty much every single down doing something.
I mean, hopefully they don't give him the DeAndre Swift treatment. I mean, Swift is a great running back. I have no clue why they refuse to use him, but we'll see what happens. I mean, they drafted Gibbs high. I don't know. Like you said, is he a 3-down back? I'm not sure if he's like a workhorse, but like you can just incorporate him in so many different ways.
Yeah. And I think that's really good for Goff. I mean, you have JMO suspended for six games. I mean, just having that as like a backup option, just maybe throw him in the slot, make him work. Obviously, you got Amon-Ra there, Josh Reynolds.
Yeah, it gives him that check down option.
That dude. I mean, and I know Goff has gotten a lot of hate, but he's in the perfect system. I mean, and we can't forget this. Like the dude went to the Super Bowl. Like he went to the Super Bowl.
They're a high power offense. Like they're one of the best offenses in the league right now.
Like they're ready, bro. Like they are ready, and they got that Sam Laporta guy who apparently is looking fantastic in camp. So that's a high powered offense, and if you're in Dynasty and you rode around with those Lions players, that shit paid off, and that paid off for me, that's for sure. But good for you guys. We'll talk about that soon. But that's a game. Cowboys-Lions. It's my number 4. Week 17, Saturday, 8:20 game. So now we got our top 3 here. So obviously number 3, Bengals at Chiefs, Week 17. That's what else do we got to say here?
Yeah, I mean that's the playoff matchup that everybody wants to see. We're gonna see it the week before the playoffs. And you really can't even say too much about that game. Like we all know who those two teams are. They'll probably be number 1 in their divisions at that point. And like, to be honest, I don't know if that game is going to have playoff implications as far as those teams making the playoffs. It probably won't. It'll definitely have implications for like the seeding in the AFC, I think.
Yeah.
But like, it'll just be a nice little preview of what we're going to see in the playoffs from those two teams.
Yeah, I mean that it could go one of two ways. They can either just sit starters and just let them rock, or there's going to be some type of implication where one team, probably my guess is the Bengals, is going to have to play their starters in Kansas City. I mean, Andy Reid's not going to go down without a fight. If he has an opportunity to put a Bengals in a shitty situation, he's going to do it. He doesn't care. But
no, I mean, we're talking about two teams that could be fighting for the first round bye. So,
that too.
Like, I think starters probably will be played that game.
Yeah, I mean, it really just depends on their record. I mean, if they're both still so good. So I think that is probably the newest rivalry that's going to be like a forever rivalry.
Oh, yeah, as long as those two quarterbacks are in the league, for sure.
And that's where I'm going to come up with my second overall matchup heading to the season. And I want to talk about them. Obvious. Bills-Jets, Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football, September 11th, Week 1.
And I wish I could put that at number 1 because that is such a meaningful game to like all New Yorkers and obviously me too, like every Jets fan. But dude, you can't start out a season better than that. Like that's just a phenomenal game to start out with.
We talked about it with Fireman Ed. It's going to be the first time Rodgers trots out there in the green and white. Monday Night Football, like MetLife is going to be jumping, more energy than we've ever seen probably from Jets fans. Like Jets got them last year. They beat the Bills last year with Zach Wilson. So it's going to be a great matchup. Dude, I think the Jets should take that. Like, the
100%.
Jets have no excuse to lose that game with
And
Rodgers.
you know how I am with the Jets, how I bet against them. Like, dude, this is just a game. Like, I look at this and like my heart wants to be like, yo, just take the Bills because everyone's gonna be on the Jets. But I truly believe that we can beat them. Like, I'm telling you, the Bills are ready. Okay, now the Bills are already going through drama right now. Do you see all the shit with Stephon Diggs?
Yeah, dude. It makes no sense why Stephon Diggs has such a problem with Buffalo. Like, he got paid. He's putting up stats. They've been a Super Bowl contender, supposedly. And I
I
mean, who the fuck knows what's going on behind closed doors with them? I mean, I don't. If Stephon Diggs isn't happy there, where the fuck is he gonna be happy?
I think deep down, I did see something on Twitter. He was pretty pissed that they didn't sign D Hop. Like D Hop was like not an option. I don't know if I believe that or
I
not,
mean,
but
I think he was bitching before that though. He's been bitching for like 2 seasons now.
I'm telling you, I think he knows that this team is not ready. Like I'm telling you, yo, that they're not going to be the same team. Everyone, I listen to all these fucking podcasts, Rich Eisen, Coward, freaking Get Up, freaking Undisputed, and they're all like, "Oh, the Bills #1 disputed. Like they're going to win the AFC East. They're gonna do
No.
this." They're like, dude, no, like
We've
they're
heard it
such a
how many
different
years
team,
now?
bro.
How
Like
many years now have they been everybody's pick to win the Super Bowl? 4 years?
yeah, ever since Allen got probably his second year in the league, ever since then they've been like dark horse like Super Bowl contenders.
And I'm not here for that shit anymore. I don't want to hear it.
I think it's over. I think their window has closed. Like this is probably their last chance, but I think it closed already. Like I really do. I mean, how long can you rely on Stephon Diggs with who's the wide receiver too? Gabe? Gabe like
who does nothing. He'll show up like once every 5 games.
dude, if Stephon Diggs goes down, they are screwed. James Cook, he could be solid. I mean, I really wasn't too big on him, but I
Neither
guess
am I.
with
People act like he's an elite running back. I don't think so.
he's young and he's in a good position, but there's just I just feel like Stephon, I think why he's pissed is because he knows that they're not ready. Like
It's going to be the same thing again. Just one-dimensional Bills offense. Josh Allen running around and throwing to Stephon Diggs and nothing else.
and remember we talked about that with Fireman Ed. I mean, how much are you going to let him run? Like for the sake of your team, I mean, he could run when he has to, but I think Josh Allen, if he is run, he's got to play it more safe. Like, don't pull no Zach Wilson in the preseason, pop your knee, and think it's an ACL, but it's actually a bone bruise type shit. Like, dude, if he wants a chance to actually win, run the ball, but slide. Like, don't go crazy, dude. You're a big dude, we know it, but for the sake of the Bills Mafia and your team, like, you got to play it safe. Like, that straight up. So I think the Jets win it outright. Like they're going to be underdogs. I think they already are like +1 underdogs.
Yeah, so that's going to be an awesome game. I mean, you look at the matchup there, like those two teams could be the future of the division, future of the AFC, and I mean, Monday night, week 1, they're going to roll out under the lights.
I think we match up so well against them though. Like you know what? It's really going to be just like a battle of the trenches. Like if we can just contain Von Miller, if we can contain Ed Oliver and those guys, if Matt Milano's not rocking Rodgers, like if the line can actually play smart and do what it's supposed to do and not fuck up, it's week 1, bro. You're going to see a lot of that shit. But if they can actually like adapt to it and overcome those mistakes, we have a shot. I mean, Rodgers is good to play smart. He's going to throw it away. He's going to move around in the pocket. But it's a matchup that we need to win week 1 because the rest of those like 7 games that we have after that first game, they are tough. We always get screwed with the schedule. They are some tough games. We play the Chiefs. We play Denver in Denver. We play the Birds. We play the Cowboys. Like, dude, that's a rough stretch of 7 games. Like, if we go 3-3, I think I'd be content. Like, I would be happy with that. If we went 4-2, I'd be ecstatic. I just realistically, I think 3-3 is probably like what. I mean, obviously you want to go 6-0, but
whenever the Jets are good, we know what they do. Like the years where the Jets kind of get some hype, they always come out of the gates really hot and then just find a way to fall apart.
Yep.
So like, hopefully that's not what it's going to be this season. But
or
I
they
think
just suck.
every time the Jets have been good, I think that's what we've seen from them. Just a good start to the season, false hope, and then collapse somehow.
It's different now, man. I mean, you know how down I was in them last year, but after what we saw and after everyone's going to hopefully get back healthy, I mean, dude, the sky's the limit, dude. I hope. And then my number one, obvious, Phillies at the Chiefs, week 11, 8:15, 8:20 game. I mean, I think Philly takes that one. I think they come back with a vengeance and they take that in
Yeah, I
Arrowhead.
mean, in Arrowhead, I got to go with the Chiefs on that one.
I'm going to take the Birds there. I
It's
just
gonna
think
be a close game, dude. I mean,
they
we
have
saw what
the
happened in the Super Bowl.
for sure. That I just think they have an obvious better roster. I think Jalen Hurts is on a mission, and their defense got better. Hopefully, the rookies play well. Jordan Davis plays well. AJ Brown, still AJ Brown. Devontae's Devontae. He's wide receiver one in my opinion. I don't care. And Dallas Goedert. I just think they've gotten so much better. Like
And
they just have the most complete roster in the
They
league.
added Swift too. I think that's gonna be huge.
DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny, like those are some undervalued moves that they made, especially Rashad Penny. I mean, he has injury bug, but when he's not injured, he's putting up insane numbers, dude. Insane numbers. Like he went on a stretch last year, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, where the last like 5 games of the season, he was putting up 25, 30 plus numbers in fantasy. Like if he can, like with that line, that is scary, bro. And DeAndre Swift, they are the best team in the league right now. And I hate to say it, but they just are. It's obvious. So those are my top 10. I think they're pretty damn good.